Hello and welcome to my presentation. My name is Sean Moore, and today I want to give you a little bit of insight to Oswego and how it is to go through SUNY Oswego as a language and international trade student. So the first thing I want to do is give you a little bit of background about myself. I am from Western New York. I'm an Eagle Scout and I just love to travel. It's a big passion of mine. I have been to 7 different countries outside of the United States, and I've been to 26 of the states within the United States. So the first thing I want to talk about is the campus. SUNY Oswego is a medium-sized campus with about 8,000 undergrad students, and there's just people from all over, not only throughout the country, but also the world. There are a lot of people from the New York City area as well, and a lot of these people are first or second generation students, so therefore their families are coming from other countries, so it's a really diverse group you're going to meet at SUNY Oswego. In the left-hand corner here, you're going to see a good example of that. There is Pat, who's second-generation Chinese, Muhammad, who is second-generation Jamaican, Daisy, who's second-generation Mexican, Snowita, who is Sri Lankan, and Salu, who's Moroccan. They were very good friends of mine. This was around my freshman-sophomore year, and I met them while living in Hart Hall. Hart Hall is a global living community. It is the dorm that most international students will live in for their first semester, if not their entire time at SUNY Oswego. You get people from all over the world. I've made friends from anywhere from South America, like Brazil or Argentina, to places like South Korea, China, Japan, and then all over Europe. It's a really incredible place to live and just experience these different cultures coming together. It's a really good way to broaden your horizons too. The other place that I lived at when I was at SUNY Oswego was the Village. The Village is a series of townhouses that were built about 8 years ago, and they are pretty nice inside. There's either 4 or 6 people living within the house, and while there are RAs that live within like the block of houses, there isn't one in each house kind of thing, so therefore it's a lot more of like a freedom experience type thing. Most people in the Village don't have a meal plan. They cook for themselves because living in the Village gives you access to a full kitchen within every individual house. As long as you know how to cook, then it's a good way to save some money while being living in the Village. And it's a really pleasant place to live too. There's a really nice commons area called the Village Commons. It has, your standard games like pool, darts, and whatnot. It's where you'd go to get your mail. It's a really good facility overall. So next thing I want to talk about are the courses at SUNY Oswego. I took a large range of general electives, anything from computer science intro courses to psychology intro or meteorology. Just kind of broaden my horizons and learn about things that wouldn't normally fit within the major track of a language international trade student. The majority of my courses, though, were business related or German related due to the nature of my major and the fact that I was focusing on German for my language of choice. The German courses that I took were anything from grammar building courses, vocabulary building courses, courses that focused on literature or culture or history, or even ones that just focused on specific cities, such as a course I took on Berlin. I definitely improved my German during my time in SUNY Oswego. I came in knowing some German but not feeling comfortable speaking it, to now where I feel pretty comfortable when conversing or writing with a native speaker. The most influential course, though, that I took at SUNY Oswego had to have been Management 250. This was a business course in which I learned presentation styles and skills. I learned a lot about businesses, whether it's starting one or the different types of businesses that exist, such as LLCs and whatnot. And networking skills as well were in there. And then I also met 2 of my closest friends, Tony and David. Now, for my sophomore year, I chose to go abroad for 1 semester. I went to Osnabrück, Germany, which is in the northwest of the country. While I was there, I met a very large group of friends. I met people from all over, whether they were Germans or other parts of Europe, such as Italy, France, Spain, people from places like Ukraine or Russia. So you meet people from all over with, obviously more of a focus on Europe, which is kind of cool because in Oswego, we don't tend to have so many European international students. While I was abroad, not only did I get to meet these great people from all over, but I got to learn a lot about their cultures. One of the most interesting cultures for me to learn about was that of the Russian culture, since we don't really hear too much about the day-to-day life in Russia in the United States. And I actually had a very large group of friends from Russia who I actually traveled with quite a bit when I was there. So that was really cool. In regards to the food, Germany's pretty similar to the American foods in some ways. They have, influences from other countries as well. They came about during the American occupation after World War II. But the most notable foods in Germany are going to be the breads. They're just phenomenal. There's over 200 different types of it, and I would highly recommend anyone that's ever in Germany to stop by a bakery. They're all over, and you can get some really good products at a really low price, all fresh baked. The other notable food item in Germany that is loved by everyone, though ironically isn't German, it's just Turkish, is doner kebab. What it is it's meat shaved into the bread in which they toss on all sorts of vegetables and sauce, and it is just fantastic. It is delicious. It's cheap. It's basically like the fast food option that you're going to go to, and it's just everywhere too. I mean, my apartment, which is in the center of the city, probably had 7 or 8 of these shops within a 10-15 minute walk from me. So when I came back to America, there was some readjustments. I didn't notice any real readjustments going to Germany because I'd prepared so well for it, but coming back was definitely where I felt the most culture shock. Things like social etiquette were pretty big for me. For example, the Germans don't really jump into other people's conversations. You stick to your own track, you mind your own business. So when I came back, I had an experience in which a bank teller joined into a conversation that I was having with my mom, and it registered as very rude to me. Obviously, that's not a rude thing in the United States. He was just being friendly. People do that all the time here, and you don't even think twice about it. But coming back from Germany, it was very noticeable for me. And another thing is that in America, people always use "How are you?" as a greeting, just walking by, or "What's up?" And that doesn't happen in Germany. If you say that to someone, you're actually starting a conversation and you genuinely care how they're doing or what's going on. So it's kind of a bit of a readjustment for me too, because I was coming back and all of a sudden when someone says "What's up?" I had to rewire my brain to realize they're just saying "Hey." And then the university life was a very big readjustment for me. I came back from having an apartment in which I shared with 2 flatmates, but we had our own space, to being in a dorm room with an RA on the floor. And the classes were a really big readjustment for me. In Germany, my classes were once a week for 3 to 4 hours, and you don't have homework in Germany. You don't have quizzes. Attendance isn't really a thing, even though I was good about attending my courses. And you really just have a much lighter workload, because at the end of the semester, there's a month-long exam period in which you take your exam or you give your final presentation, and whatever that one task is that you have to do for that class, that is your final grade, that is your only grade. So coming back and having to do hours and hours of work every single night was really overwhelming, and I definitely fell behind when I got back to the United States. And it took me about a semester to recover from that. Another thing that was more minor but still noticeable was the difference in nightlife. In Germany, the bars and clubs are closing anywhere from 5, 6 in the morning. Some rare ones close at 9. So to come back to the United States, in which it's closing at 2 in the morning, that's just crazy. I mean, the earliest I was going to the bars usually in Germany was 12, 1, 2 in the morning. So to have it closing at that time in the US was definitely a huge readjustment, but obviously not the biggest of my problems. When I was back in the United States, though, during my senior year, I actually did an internship. I was out in Boulder, Colorado, and interning for a company called Trimble. They are a software as a solution company. They have people using their solutions in 175 countries throughout the world, and they have people who are actually employed by them in about 75 to 80 countries in the world. What I was doing for them was mainly competitive analytics, a little bit of market research too, dealing with a new software solution they were bringing to the market. And it was a really, really cool working experience. Due to the international nature of the company, my coworkers that I was working closely with were from places like India, Finland, Germany. So it was really, really cool. And I also gained a lot of experiences of what it's like to work within an office, because all my work experience was within retail. I also got to really show some of the skills that I learned at SUNY Oswego, such as my presenting skills, When I gave company executives at the end of my internship, I gave a presentation to them over my findings and where they could improve and whatnot over their product and how they're marketing it. So it was really cool to see that pay off. And then in my free time, I got to do some things such as hiking and exploring. I was in the Rocky Mountains after all, so it was incredible. Despite it being January, the climate is very mild in Colorado if you're on the side of the mountains that I was. So as you can see, there wasn't even snow. It was a really, really nice experience overall, and you can actually see the view from my office in the bottom right, in which I could see the Rocky Mountains from where I was working, which is amazing. For my goals moving forward, I still want to keep traveling. I want to get to many, many more countries and visit the friends that I've made there and make some more. I want to continue learning languages. My next language that I'm intending to learn is French, and then we'll see where I go from there. And then in regards to my employment, I'm looking for the end goal of working at a high up level for some sort of international firm in which I'm able to travel for work on a frequent basis, or if I can't travel on a frequent basis for work, then to have the ability to travel in my free time. Alright, and that's it. So thank you so much for tuning in to my presentation on my experience at SUNY Oswego as a Language International Trade student. Have a great day.